Hello, my name is Nyree and you can find me on the Adoption Family Life channel where I talk about all things relating to adoption. So if you think that that could be really interesting to you, then please hit the little pink subscribe button that you can see down in the corner of the screen. So today we're going to talk about how it feels to have to prepare for adoption before actually you're going to embark on the process. And sometimes the waiting period before we actually get going, get cracking with things is actually quite difficult for us. So I'm just going to talk about a few things that you can do to make that time really practical and down at the moment. The first thing that I would say to you is that when you go for adoption, there are several different ways that you can go about it. And you've probably heard of voluntary organisations and council-run organisations. So it's really important that you look up online and have a look at all the different types of options available to you and decide what feel the organisations have, how you feel about council, how you feel about the private side of it, and whether you want to go for one or the other. Now, the way to make that decision in a way is to decide if you feel that they are going to give you more support and training, whether you feel the types of children that they have available to you are going to suit your needs. What you generally find is with the councils or amalgamated councils that are going to be regional now, are going to have the children coming into them first, and so therefore there are generally a good supply of children coming into the councils, and often then they will look to voluntary organisations for children that are harder to place. Now, that's not to say that that's always the case, but I think that you'll find that that is generally the situation out there. So it really depends which way you're going to look at things, whether you feel that you might want the children that are slightly harder to place. That might include sibling groups, ethnic minorities, children with disabilities, or whether you want to have potentially a larger, shall we say, choice of younger children available to you, which might well be through the council. Now, as I say, that is not a golden rule, but that's kind of the feel that you might get with these situations. And it's really also necessary for you to get a feel of how you think this organisation runs and what they're looking for, what their ethos is. For example, there may be a Christian adoption agency, and that might have a certain ethos. There might be other agencies that specialize in particular types of children that they're trying to find homes for. And sometimes you get a feel, when you look on the website, as to whether you think that this is the type of agency or council or region for you. At this stage, potentially maybe don't make contact, but you could do. But so that's the first stage, really, is to decide what sort of route you're going to go down. And actually, I would probably stick with that initial gut instinct and feeling about who it's going to be, because it can become quite confusing about what all the different agencies offer to you. So the second thing that I think you could do in preparation before you even start the process is locate foster carers and adopters that are out there, or people and professionals that work with children who've experienced trauma, and be really prepared to spend some time with them, asking them the questions that you think are relevant for you and also relevant around the children. And don't be afraid to hear what the answers are. Don't be afraid to hear the difficult stories. I think it's very easy for us to sugarcoat how adoption is, particularly. It's not all bad. Obviously, it's not all bad. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. I just need to say I do have two adopted boys living with me still, and children with complex needs. So it is really important, I think, to get perspectives of people who've actually looked after these children and actually get a feel for what it's really like. And that's a really good preparation for you. And clearly, it's also really good to read books and resources from these types of people too, that have done the job, as it were, or are still doing the job. So my next point for you as well is to have a look at your relationship with your partner or the relationship with your immediate family and really scrutinize it really, really hard. Really, this is so difficult to do, I know this, but you need to sit down with each other or sit down with a family member and really, really think about how good that relationship is. If there's anything that needs adjusting and changing, let's do it now before you start the process, because they're going to dig deep in the assessment. They're going to be asking questions that are personal about the way that you are with each other, the things that might cause arguments, any major disagreements that you've had in the past. So it's really good, I think, to sit down and have those difficult conversations with your partner or the person that you're going to lean on through the process, and have that conversation now. Another thing, and we're on to point 4 here, that you need to consider is what your own childhood was like and how that might have given you positive vibes or negative vibes. Don't worry about the fact that you may have a negative childhood, because if you've looked on my channel, you will see that I've done a range of videos all about domestic abuse and being the survivor of that. So I've had a really difficult childhood, and I was asked about that when we were going through the process, and that was difficult. But I think it will be good if you haven't started the process and you're in preparation to start thinking about how that childhood has affected you, and whether you've actually worked through that trauma and processed that. And if you haven't, or there are things that you need to do around that, to start putting things in place now, however difficult that might be. That's going to be really beneficial for you when you come to start going through the process, and social worker is going to ask you the questions anyway. So what you're going to do next is you're going to think about the types of children that you might like to have, and this is the exciting bit, of course, but you need to think long and hard about what you can really accept in your family and what will work for you. So again, lots of reflection around this is by no means a waste of time, because you will be asked through the process what types of children you think you are open to. Would it be children that, could you accept children that have been sexually abused, have disability, sibling group, baby, you know, what is it that you're looking for? There are other videos on my channel that you can have a look at, which takes you through some of those options. And I think, you know, we all want to think that we could accept all the children that are offered to us, but the reality is we can't all do that. So it's really good to narrow down what you think your age band is, you know, whether you are definite on boys or girls, whether you can accept disability, etc. So that's the next thing, kind of have good discussions around the type of child or children. And also another really important part to start sifting out now is how your lifestyle is. How does your household run? And are there any changes that you need to make now before you start the process? So how is the workload for you and your partner, or if you're on your own? Who does everything in the house? Who does the chores? You know, how does the money come in? And is there anything that really needs to change before you start the process? Because again, you will be asked around all these things, and so there's no harm in looking at it now. Now, finally, of course, you're going to pick up the phone to the place that you think that you want to adopt a child from, and you're going to make that initial call, which is obviously very nerve-wracking. But you know, guys, you're building yourself up for this. If you do some preparation, you'll be ready for it. Now, the first part of the process will be stage 1, and you need to know that they will be checking, doing all their checks. So if you have any criminal history in there, then you need to declare that right away. Even if it's something that happened ages ago and it's tiny, get it out of the way and sort of let them know everything. If you have any really specific medical conditions, if I were you, I would just say that up front. I would even say that on that initial phone call, because what will happen is you will have to wait until stage 1 starts and social workers are allocated to you, and things will play on your minds. So if you know that you have something in the criminal history there, or you know you have a specific medical condition, it will play on your mind as to whether it's going to block the process. So if it was me, I would just get that out there right away so that you don't have to worry about all that. So guys, I hope that's helpful to you. There are lots and lots of videos on my channel which cover many different aspects of adoption, whether it be the children or whether it be my experiences of actually adopting or delving into trauma, different types of trauma, attachment. So again, if you think any of those things might be useful to you, you will see that there's a picture of me that's going to come up in the middle of the screen towards the end of this video. So just click on there and subscribe, and hopefully what will happen if you hit the notification button as well is that you will know when I'm bringing out new videos. So I really hope that helps you guys, and I look forward to meeting you again on my other videos, and I hope that this video has helped you to prepare to become an adopter. How exciting. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.